Welcome back to the War Room, and today we got Joe and Tom's Stardom Situm of the Week for week number 2.
Oh yeah, you have come here to listen to the most credible people in fantasy football.
Do not doubt us.
Confirmed. Let's get it started already. We're going to have one Stardom, one Situm, each position, each person. So you'll have 2 people at each position, each Situm, and each Stardom.
That was such a good explanation. That is not confusing at all. So,
how about y'all just shut up and let us talk?
y'all, all right. Who is your QB start of the week here?
This is an easy one for me. Justin Herbert didn't have the best game versus Washington. Only 13 fantasy points, but he did have 337 yards. Just wasn't really able to find the end zone. Listen to me right now. He's taking on the Dallas Cowboys. What are the Dallas Cowboys good for?
Giving up points to any offensive player.
Doesn't matter what position. Quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight
Fullback.
end, shoot. Doesn't matter. Fullback. They'll do it. Justin Herbert, obvious start. Do not doubt him, even though he had a disappointing week number 1. Joe,
I respect it. My start this week is Ryan Tannehill. Not a good week 1, but he is going to bounce back this week against the Seahawks. Look, if Carson Wentz could get 22 points against the Seahawks, Ryan Tannehill could put up a performance. A.J. Brown, Julio Jones, Derrick Henry, they're all going to have a bounce back performance this week against the Seahawks.
I like it. Plus a questionable secondary. Good pick there.
Very questionable.
Bounce back for Tannehill.
Bounce back.
Now, for a Situm at quarterback, and this pains me to do it, I got to throw Big Ben's name out
Oh, my. It's at home, dude.
It's at home.
It's
I
at
know.
home.
Listen, we struggle versus the Raiders every single time. It's always a disappointment. I never know how and why it happens, but it happens every time. Big Ben only had 188 passing yards and 1 touchdown. The offense looked very stagnant. They only played one half of football, and that half was average at best. I got to say, Big Ben is going to have a rough time. They have a really good defensive line.
Max Crosby.
He's going to get in there, and it's going to be a rough game for Big Ben.
What's funny is my sit is the same game. I got Derek Carr against the Steelers. Solid performance against the Ravens. He had 435 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Dang.
Also went into overtime, but don't let that fool you, okay? It is a short week for the Raiders.
They're on the road. They're traveling across the U.S.
Yeah, I just don't think Derek Carr can put up that many points against the Pittsburgh defense. I think we will be all over him. So, I mean, we only let Josh Allen get 18 points last week. Yeah. And I like Allen a lot more than Derek Carr.
So, possible low-scoring game, Raiders versus Pittsburgh.
Could be a defensive
That's
battle.
kind of what I'm thinking.
Yep.
So, watch all your players there. I'm even a little questionable on Najee Harris, but that's not my Situm for running back. Let's move on to our running backs. I'll let you start it off first.
Right, my start of the week is going to be Darrell Henderson with the Rams. I know they're going up against the Colts, which is a respectable defense, but they did let up 113 yards to Seattle with Chris Carson last week. And one stat I really like, though, is he got 96% of the snaps last week.
Wow, that many.
So he is going to be a heavy back. He's their leading back. So I do like him to get some points this week against the Colts.
That's an important stat right there. Yeah. I'm going to go in the NFC with Aaron Jones. I already talked about him one time.
You love Aaron Jones this week, man.
I have to. If he doesn't get it done this week, you're going to be questioning whether or not to put him in any week. He's taking on Detroit. It's an easy game. They should be in the lead the entire game, which means more handoffs for him. Last week, look, I know, don't panic just yet. A.J. Dillon got more carries, but the Packers got down bad so early. That game was, like, their entire offensive game plan got thrown out the window early.
Pretty much, yeah.
So as long as they stick with their guns here, Aaron Jones should get the ball a lot, and he should have a good game. 86 yards.
As long as Aaron Rodgers isn't tanking on purpose. Am I right?
Oh, man. That's
all right. Next, who are you sitting this week?
I am going back to a game that we just talked about that I think is going to be a low score. It's going to be Josh Jacobs. How is he going to be able to run with T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward?
He can't. It's impossible.
I mean, Melvin Ingram did great. Joe Schobert's going to be locking down.
Amen.
I mean, he already struggled in week 1. You brought it up before. He had the 2 touchdowns last week, which is great, but that saved his fantasy day because he only had a little over 30 yards.
Yep.
Plus, you see Kenyon Drake getting in the mix quite a bit, probably more than a lot of people were expecting.
Yep.
But he didn't look bad.
Jacobs, I don't think is that healthy. They should have put him in to win the game when they were at like the 1, but they kept saying, "Oh, Josh Jacobs is hurt. Probably he can't push it in." So his health is a huge concern. Not worth the risk this week at all. So my sit this week is Mike Davis with the Falcons. He's going against the Bucs. He's got a great line. He had 15 touches last week for just 49 yards. and the Bucs only let up 33 yards to Ezekiel Elliott. Don't know if Zeke's even going to be a good back against any team this week, but I would not be starting Mike Davis this week.
And I think the Falcons are going to have to be a throwing team if they want a chance to beat the Bucs, which means more Cordero Patterson than Mike Davis.
He did see the ball a lot last week, and he had a lot of catches in the backfield. So Mike Davis, not going to be a good week for you.
Stardom of the week at wide receiver. Not many people are talking about this guy, but you need to keep your eyes on him. It's going to be Sammy Watkins. He had himself 8 targets and 96 yards.
Okay.
I think he's the number 1 receiver in Baltimore, and I think Lamar kind of likes him.
I mean, who else do they have? Mark Andrews?
Marquise Brown, who didn't look bad, but, I mean, I don't know. He's a deep threat.
He's not a go-to, yeah.
Sammy Watkins is that possession guy, and he can go deep as well. They're taking on the Chiefs this week. They're going to have to air it out. Baltimore always struggles versus Chiefs, though, so it's a little bit sketch, but you got to keep your eyes on Sammy Watkins. If you need him in a pinch, I definitely recommend giving him a shot.
I like that pick. My start this week is going to be Allen Robinson with the Bears. On the defensive end, Trey Waynes is out again. So all they have is Chidobe Awuzie and Eli Apple, who last week led up a combined 162 yards and 13 receptions.
He's pretty good for that.
Yeah. I expect Allen Robinson to have a big game this week.
Yeah. He got locked up last week. Just remember, he's taking on Jalen Ramsey, one of the best in the
league.
And he had 11 targets, so they still want to go at him. So that's good.
So this week, I think he's going to have a big bounce-back game.
All right. My sit-em of the week at wide receiver, people are going to hate to hear it. I'm going to go with Jamar Chase.
Okay.
I think people are hyping him up way too much, too early. He had a good game. Obviously, Joe Burrow likes him, but you got to remember there's a lot of mouths to feed in Cincinnati. Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins also, and then Joe Mixon out of the backfield. I just think one of the other guys are going to step up. I feel like not one of them is a true number 1, and I don't know. They're gonna have to split who has a good game, and I don't think this is going to be Jamar's game.
Okay. All right. My sit-em in the receiver spot is Robbie Anderson against the Saints defense, who has only allowed 6 touchdowns to receivers in the last 10 games. And last week, Anderson, he only had 1 catch for 57 yards and a touchdown. That pretty much saved him last week. So I don't expect him this week to have a big game.
Fair enough. That could be an interesting watch for the 2 running backs, maybe the 2 biggest fantasy running backs in the league, so that would be pretty fun.
Yeah, could be.
Let's move on to tight end. Who do you got as your starter?
My starter is Robert Tonyan with the Packers.
He busted pretty hard week 1.
The whole team busted pretty hard week 1.
Yeah, that's an understatement.
This week, he's going to come back. And it's pretty much guaranteed because he scored against the Lions both games last year.
Oh, that's good.
So that's pretty much 100%.
That's what you like to see.
So he's pretty much going to have – it's guaranteed he's going to score again this week.
Guaranteed.
So go with Robert Tonyan for your tight end this week.
That's a Joe Carp guarantee.
That's a guarantee.
I'm going to go ahead to Noah Fant.
Okay.
You see the Broncos lost Jerry Jeudy. Somebody else is going to have to pick up those targets.
He did get targets too.
I think Teddy Bridgewater is going to go at him quite a bit. I think he's kind of in the same realm. You have the Tim Patrick and who else do you have?
Hamler.
And Hamler. I think Noah Fant, I feel like he's more of an important target than both of those guys. I think he's going to be the number 2 receiver behind Cortland Sutton, who also struggled a bit in week number 1. So I'm looking for Noah Fant to get the targets needed.
Okay. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, I kind of like Teddy Two Gloves in the backfield last week.
Looked good. He looked solid.
He could sling that ball.
Yeah. Safe pick.
All right. And finally, defense. Who you starting this week?
What about the busts for tight end?
I didn't do my bust for tight end yet.
You didn't get a bust for tight end?
My bust. It was a bust last week. It'll be a bust again this week.
Oh.
Mike Gesicki.
Oh, wow.
With the Dolphins.
Really? Okay.
Not too good. The Bills only allowed just 2 receptions last week against the Steelers. 1 to Ebron and then 1 to what's his name?
Ebron and who are we talking about? Freiermuth?
Yeah, Freiermuth, Penn State.
Sorry.
But so this week, don't expect him to have a big game either. I don't know if he's going to have a really great season. We'll see. He had a good season last season. We'll see about this year.
We shall see.
But keep him on your bench if you could.
I have Tyler Higbee at tight end. Tight ends are kind of easier, I feel like, to pick busts almost.
Yeah.
I mean, there's only maybe 3 or 4 like really solid ones. Tyler Higbee had a really good game for a tight end in week number 1. He had the targets. He's taken on the Colts. The Colts have good linebackers. I think the receivers are going to be the ones that are going to be able to get open a little bit more. And I just think he's going to get locked down. Not a spectacular game for Higbee. I'm not really excited about him.
Okay. Next up, finally, Defense.
The defense.
Who you starting?
Cleveland Browns. It's easy.
The Browns.
Taking on Houston. Look, Houston put up a crap ton of points in week number 1, but don't let that fool you. Who'd they verse? They versed Jacksonville. Come on now. They had the number 1 pick. They drafted Trevor Lawrence. Look, easy pick. Browns have a great defense. They have a lot of players. They're going to be able to get after the quarterback, put pressure on, get the turnovers. I think they're going to score a touchdown too.
I like that. And speaking of the Jags, I didn't want to go with a super obvious pick here. I got the Broncos defense going against the Jaguars.
Okay.
And that number 1 pick, Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. They did what they had to do in week number 1 versus the Giants. They held them to 13 points.
Exactly. So if they're sitting in your free agency and you need a defense, I would pick them up.
Okay. My sit-em for defenses is a defense that I like. I just don't like them in the matchup, and that's going to be the Colts. I kind of just talked about it. I don't want to contradict myself too much. The Colts have a great team. They have great linebackers. They have great pieces there, but they're taking on the Rams, who I think have one of the best offenses. I'm going to say it now. Top 3 offense. They're number 3 offense in the league.
I agree with that.
Like, you're crazy if you start any, like, even, I don't know. I'm not starting anybody against the Rams.
Yeah, I agree with that. Defense I am sitting this week is the Chargers going up against the Cowboys. I expect the Cowboys to still be an offensive powerhouse with those receivers. I would not start the Chargers in this game.
Yeah, I definitely see that. Even Derwin had a good game and stuff, but like you just don't do that against the Cowboys right now with all the momentum that they have.
I feel like that's going to be a high passing game, a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns. So I would not be starting the Chargers.
Could see it happen.
Could see
For sure. All right, boys, we're going to end things here. That's your startums and situms for week number 2. If you have any guys that you have questions about, put them down in the comments below. We'll try to respond to a few of you. Make sure you subscribe. Drop a like for more videos. They're coming every single day. Hopefully multiple videos every single day just for you guys. We'll see you all in the next one. Peace.
Bye.